Hello and welcome back to What the Food, the podcast that uncovers the history of the world through the lens of food. My name is Miles Dickinson. As always, I'm here with my best mates, Andy Cantor and Dom Gray, and today's episode is a history of sushi.
So yeah, you're looking very tanned. You're looking very golden. Nice little holiday for our editing hours. We let you out of the little editing cage to go on holiday, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm going first time in 10 years after Croatia. Game of Thrones tour. I want to see where Cersei had her nipples out.
Shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah, it was lovely. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You had a good time? You had a lovely time?
I'd say it was refreshing until like a couple of days before I went, I organised to have a job interview kind of halfway through the holiday.
That's a classic move.
Wouldn't recommend. It's one way to just inject a bit of stress halfway through.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's like you Googled how to ruin a holiday. It's like one of the top 10.
Just when you're starting to unwind. Just do a job interview.
Yeah. Do you know what I think this needs? It needs me to button up a big shirt, tuck it in and put a belt on.
Yeah.
And really chat about everything I've done in my career for the past 10 years.
You're not looking to move on from the pod, though, are you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The pod lives forever. But no, in terms of Croatia, bloody lovely. Very clean place. That's one of the things. First thing I noticed, there's no litter anywhere.
No litter.
Super clean. The weather was gorgeous.
What about the locals? Were they clean?
The locals were clean. Very nice people. Yeah.
Very good.
Everyone was really happy to see us. People that had no right to be happy to see us should have been pissed off that. Taxi drivers in the bacon heat. But
you know, happy.
They were lovely. Really happy.
I don't know much about Croats. Is that what we call them?
Yeah.
Or is that a negative?
Balkans.
Feels slur, like, doesn't it? Croats.
A little bit.
Croats.
But I think it is the official term.
They consider themselves Balkans, I think. A few people referred to themselves whilst I was there as Balkans.
Balkanites?
That sounds like
Balkanites? Sounds like some Gorgonites from toy soldiers. Small soldiers, yeah.
That's the second time that niche as fuck film has been mentioned on the pod.
I know, it's the most deep dive.
Always finds its way in, that one.
Yeah.
Always finds
Great film. Great film.
Really good.
Yeah. So actually, funnily enough, it's actually this week's sponsor.
Wow. Thank you to Universal Studios.
Yeah, it's out on Disney Plus at the moment. Go watch it. Yeah.
But good. You had a good time. What was the nicest thing you ate while you were there? Did you experience any food history that's relevant?
A little bit, yeah. So they're kind of famous for their baked goods over there in Dubrovnik. So we had the burek, which is kind of like a phyllo pastry type thing with bits of minced lamb and beef in it. Very nice. Something that we kept seeing loads as well was these chicken spring rolls. That was on every menu, and that's like a national dish of theirs. And again, it's like thin pastry. Well, it's a spring roll, literally, with minced chicken in it.
Interesting.
And I had that, and that was all right.
Just all right?
It was just all right. It was a bit dry. The minced chicken was a bit dry.
Yeah. An Asian sweet chili dip, would you say?
Yeah, it needed something like that, definitely. Yeah. It had some good seafood though, because obviously you're on the coast there, so lots of fresh mussels. Had a really nice shrimp truffle creamy pasta. That was great.
Ooh.
That was delicious.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, recommend it.
Oysters?
Yes. Yeah, got me oysters. Didn't make me ill.
Classic.
Yeah.
Good.
Slowed that down.
Night one on the holiday, just as you stepped off the plane in the airport. Yeah. Just got through customs. Where's the oyster bar?
Make a beeline for it.
Yeah.
So I got me oysters, so thank God holiday wasn't ruined.
Love that.
What have you boys been up to this past week? Keeping it real? Holding on the UK fort?
Yeah, I mean, we've been here making sure, answering fan mail, dealing with podcast advertisers that want to hand us some cash that we're not willing to sell our morals to.
No, we're not sold. Had a few agents, on the phone.
A few Asians?
No.
Oh,
well, I think one of them might have been the agents. Yeah, they were trying to hire us, but again, couldn't possibly sell out. So instead, just gone about my business, played a bit of footy, enjoyed this lovely heat that we've been having.
Well, I was just about to say that. I was kind of a bit annoyed that it was so nice back here.
Oh, thanks for being annoyed that we were having fun.
Don't you pretend like when you guys go on holiday that you don't also want it to be shite back in the UK. That's a universal thing.
Yeah. Okay,
it is.
Fair enough.
That is fair.
You want it to be freezing cold, lashing with rain, and almost like a famine.
So you can send pictures of you sat in the sun with a beer. Oh, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, lads. How are you getting on back home? Plus,
it's time for my second packet of family-sized paprika lays of the day. My local stubby Croatian beer.
Yeah, beautiful.
But no, it was lovely back here, wasn't it? So
it was. Yeah, I went to a wedding actually on the Saturday. Didn't know anybody. One of my wife's mates, which is always fun. It's an always interesting dynamic in it where absolutely sweet FA and you barely know the bride.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. But it was good. Free bar up until the meal, so I made full use of that.
Beautiful. Love those.
Caddy forgot that she ordered a soup, which 31 degrees.
That's no good.
Really doing
31 degrees pregnant wife soup. Not really the one, is it?
Nah.
Gazpacho, maybe.
Maybe. But she ordered, leek and potato. Yeah.
Oh,
it was leek and potato.
Nice.
British.
That's the hottest soup.
Full-bodied.
It's depths of winter. You're surviving on what's left in the storage, isn't it? That's what that is.
Wow.
What's the hottest thing out of a pan? It's a fucking potato. So I'm going to grind it up into a soup. That's going to be the hottest, thickest soup.
Thick.
Yeah.
Fair play. I love the commitment to it.
Yeah, but they did have a pizza truck later on, which was good. Yeah, it was good. Wasn't quite Neapolitano, and it wasn't quite flatbread. It's kind of in the middle of those two things.
Kind of New York style, maybe.
No, it's a bit
giving it
generous,
too much.
I think. Yeah.
It sounds like you're kind of dancing around the fact that this pizza is maybe a bit below average.
Well, I mean, I was like 6 Guinnesses deep by then, so it's fucking classed.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
Good.
thinking about it now, it wasn't great.
Well,
Yeah.
It was English people making pizza. That's what you need to know, right?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and aside from that, doing the research for the episode that we're going to be going through today, we're going to be going through the history of sushi.
Oh, hello.
I love sushi. I'm excited to find out the history of it. It's something that I shovel into my fat little gob all the time, and I've no idea where it came from. So,
Wow. Okay. When was the last time you went to a sushi restaurant?
That was
Croatia.
In Croatia?
Yeah. We went to a Japanese restaurant.
Oh my God, amazing. Perfect.
Yeah.
Go on then. Talk us through your roll order. What did you have?
Right. God, this is actually so embarrassing. So I had a miso soup to start, just to kind of line the stomach and have something nice and light. Again,
Strange.
soup in very hot heat. I don't know what's going on. But this restaurant was really well reviewed. So it was well liked by the locals. So it's not like a proper touristy spot. So the prices were pretty decent, to be fair. Wasn't too expensive. And I saw on the family sharing sushi platter page their kind of biggest sushi platter was 19 euros. And I was like, that's only 17 quid. That's like a main, that. So I proceeded to order the biggest sushi platter that they do.
For yourself?
To myself,
Just for yourself.
Did the waiter not like question it when you ordered it, and like the rest of the table had already ordered? Was he not like,
sir, he took the order off me, and then when it came, they put it in what was a communal area of the table, to which I then brought it into my item.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Whilst making eye contact with everyone around the table.
Get the funk
This
off.
was me.
Yeah. But no, it was, Joe had a couple of bits, so that's how I kind of justify that. But no, I think it was a 24-piece sushi platter. I had about 22
wow.
pieces.
Fair play. It's a lot of rice.
Wow.
Never mind the fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them had like crispy bits of chicken on top of them as well. They were like, I wasn't just eating little Mackie pieces here. I was having a big boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Fair play to you.
So
We're on holiday. I'm on holiday on
Yeah, treat yourself.
Yeah.
Pickled ginger.
Pickled ginger. Talk us through your technique when it comes to soy sauce, wasabi, pickled ginger. What are you doing?
I think this is heathen behaviour, and I fully admit that it is. But I do put my wasabi into my dipping tray with my soy sauce.
Yeah, that's a crime. That's literally a crime.
That ain't right.
I know. I've seen documentaries about how it's done. It's If I was in Japan, I wouldn't be doing it.
Right.
You'd be in trouble if you would.
Yeah, you'd be
in trouble.
Strung out.
I do want to ask the question though, like what is the appropriate way to distribute your wasabi on your sushi? Because I don't want big chunks of it. I don't want to get that massive hit. I want it to kind of be a bit more diluted and distributed.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, a whole piece of sushi is designed to be eaten in one go. So you're meant to just use your chopsticks to finally prize a little bit of wasabi out of the supply. Pop it onto
It sounds like you've got like a little arsenal or something. Like, get a little wasabi shell out of the magazine.
Pop it onto your piece, and away you go. That's how you're meant to do it. You're not meant to dip. Are you dipping the rice as well in the soy sauce?
No, I'm doing. Well, it depends. If it's like nigiri with the raw fish on top, I'll flip it upside down and you kind of coat a little bit of the fish with the soy sauce.
With your fingers? Are you doing that, or
I do it with chopsticks? But I think you are supposed to do it with your fingers, actually, aren't you?
With that, yeah.
I just do it all with fingers because I'm bad with chopsticks.
Yeah, so, I don't think I've ever seen you use chopsticks, actually, Dom.
That's because I can't.
You can't? Wow.
Well, yeah, no, I think, you know me, I'm big and long and badly coordinated. There's too much.
Your fingers
of my body
already are
to
chopsticks.
Deal with it. Yeah, exactly. I've got 10 chopsticks here. Look how good I am with them. That's what I say.
Imagine you at like a high-end sushi restaurant, just chopsticks. No, thank you. Got two here.
No. Fingers going right in. Oh, God.
Dear.
No, surely
not. Yeah. Okay, so you've been relatively recently, and you've had what sounds like a sushi fleet.
Yeah.
So fair enough.
Yeah. Filled your feet.
Yeah, sushi armada, you might say.
Yeah, you could use these military kind of conquering words to describe the way I polish this sushi platter for sure.
I mean, to be fair, Andy, me and you aren't sitting much prettier than that, because the last time me and you went for sushi was in Austria, and it was all you can eat sushi place.
It was.
And
okay.
We spent a while. There was
at
a
lunchtime.
robot waitress. It was at lunchtime. There was a robot waitress that brought it over. You know, we were all sat on the table acting like we were like, oh, isn't it so impressive that the waitress brings it over? Should we order more? Nobody was really owning up to the fact that they just wanted to absolutely batter some more sushi. And he's like, oh, we've got to see that waitress again. But yeah, so we did fill our boots. I mean, I don't know whether it was a 24-piece armada, but it might have added up.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd have had 22 pieces? 24
No,
pieces?
I don't think so. Not total. I think maybe like 21.
Yeah, I think just under. I was going to go with the same 20, but yeah, 21 if we're honest.
Well, this is the problem with these robot servers and things, because you haven't got that, human to human guilt. I don't know whether it's true or not, but someone, I don't know who, said it's something to do with, those McDonald's self-service things. That's one of the reasons why they implemented that, is because like the user journey, to not have to physically ask another human how much food you're ordering. You just punch into a machine.
You're not good to go, I'll have 4 double chestnuts and 20 nuggets. Because you're not saying that to another human, are you? But to a touch screen. No. Oh yeah, and I will have some mozzie dippers too.
It's my family on their way. So something to do with that, maybe. I don't know.
Something to do. Yeah, maybe. You do feel quite guilty though when there's just like a battlefield of plates just around you, empty plates. You polish them all off. Especially because sushi plates are quite small, aren't they? Quite dainty.
They stack up quite easily.
They do stack up. Cool. Well, let's get into it then. So sushi, Japanese. We've all been talking about Japanese restaurants. Sushi is Japanese, right? It's got to be.
Surely.
It's
their main thing, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not. It's not actually. It's not Japanese at all.
Yeah. No. Wrong.
Yeah, wrong.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So the earliest form of sushi is a dish today known as nara sushi, which actually originated in Southeast Asia, where it was made to preserve freshwater fish, probably around like the Mekong River basin. So we're talking Laos, Cambodia, Thailand.
Okay. Right.
And the first kind of written documentation of this dish comes from the 4th century, and it comes from the Han Chinese when they migrated south to adopt this food. And this is kind of where we pick up the kind of journey of sushi. The whole kind of journey embarks on these people that on the Mekong River, they are fishing and they want to be able to preserve said fish.
There's no fridges back then. Can't
no fridges.
Stick in.
Nope.
But there is a lot of fish. Mekong River is a big old river. Like that ain't a little
is it not?
Tiny one. I think it's up there with like biggest rivers in the world. Like obviously you've got the Jeffrey Bezos, that's the big one, but it's pretty massive. So lots of fish.
But how does making sushi preserve the fish? Because isn't sushi all about eating the fish as fresh and as raw and ready to go as possible?
That's all part of the journey.
It's a great question. And the answer is lactic acid fermentation.
Okay.
So what they do is they'd pack the fish inside of rice and loads of other grains. So you've got your little
oxygen seal.
No, I'm trying to name a Mekong River fish.
They've got catfish, I believe. So let's just say that we're doing catfish sushi.
Okay. So you've got your catfish in the middle, and they've essentially done a really terrible pasta parcel of rice, wrapped it around the catfish, which as the rice kind of begins to break down and ferment, it produces lactic acid, which then goes into the fish, which pickles it and preserves it for months.
Right, okay. They're using a bit of chemistry. There's a bit of science going on here.
Yeah.
They're clever, aren't they, these Southeast Asians?
I mean, we say clever,
they are.
But if there's a flavour or a type of food that I wouldn't want, and I love pickled things, but pickled fish is probably quite up there with like things that I wouldn't want to eat.
Yeah, they can be quite strong, fresh, and then you're going to double down on that flavour by compounding it when you preserve it. We spoke recently about preserving this kind of thing in the last episode, didn't we? When we were talking about the food of pirates. They were kind of doing a similar thing with beef, weren't they? And different bits of meat, kind of trying to store it and make it last. To not very great effect.
No,
nice sounding.
Not great. So the kind of different thing with this kind of first iteration of sushi, narazushi, was that the rice was actually thrown away. Because,
okay.
Yeah, they didn't eat the rice at all because it became sour and it became like a porridge-like mess. That's the bit that's getting all the bacteria and all the, that is protecting the fish.
That's your buffer.
That's your buffer, exactly. So they throw that away, and then you're left with this nicely pickled, preserved fish that you both sounds like you wouldn't have enjoyed.
Well, nicely is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird though, because obviously like this area of the world has gone through, big famines in history, haven't they? Where rice has been really hard to come by. And now they're at a stage where they're just willing to throw away great swaths of rice to cure this delicate fish. It feels quite lavish, really, at this point.
Well, it's just less folks knocking around, right? Less folks. There's more of an abundance of rice and fish for people to dig into. So they can just throw it away, mate. They can just dish it out. They can dish it out.
Yeah, you do.
I did. So a lot of the research for this episode comes from a book by a bloke called Dr. Eric Rath, who wrote Oishi, The History of Sushi. So shout out to Eric. He's a white dude.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Loves all things Japanese. A guy that definitely has samurai swords in his house.
Loves
definitely
a bit of anime.
black belt in some. Loves anime.
Some kind of fake, martial art.
Yep.
It's not actually real.
Yep. He loves, what was it, Attack on Titan?
But he has like Godzilla little plushies in his bed.
No.
No?
He hates Godzilla because Godzilla kills Japanese people.
Fairs, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
His enemy.
Yeah. No, that is fair.
And he goes to Japan.
He's never been. He's never been.
He's never been. He's
He just read about it online.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
No, he has been.
He uses Japanese dating sites.
Yeah.
Try and pair himself up with a Japanese bride.
He does.
To little effect.
No, he's a gentleman and a scholar, and a lot of the info comes from his book. So go and read his book, Oishi, The History of Sushi. But he gives us a bit of a taste for what this kind of ancient sushi would have been like, because he describes a modern sushi equivalent, which is called funa sushi, which we're going to actually get onto later because it is a fucking mad form of sushi. But this is his vivid account of what this type of sushi would have tasted like.
Funa sushi gives off the odour of blue cheese. The taste of cured meat quickly gives way to a punch of sourness that originates at the back of the mouth and often causes physical reaction. I cannot help but pucker my lips and turn my head to confront the sour assault in my mouth. Funa sushi is the sourest thing I have ever tasted, and the tartness stayed in my mouth the next day like bile after a hangover.
Oh,
revolting.
That is not a good write-up.
No.
It's not a good write-up. Wow.
No. And we'll see why when I talk you through the process of how they make this funa sushi. But I feel like that description gives you a good overview of what that original sushi would have been like, that nara sushi.
Yeah.
Blue cheese, fermentation, sour, just shit.
Such an acquired taste, isn't it?
Yeah.
So acquired.
God.
Super acquired. Would have been very it's a powerful flavour, obviously, super umami, like a blue cheese, really pongy blue cheese, which is just.
But that's just not where you want sushi and fish to be. That's just not the area, zone that you want that.
No.
But I think if it's you go, sir.
I was going to say, if it's your only source of protein, you can have it, right?
Well, that's it. It's a different story, isn't it, when you're limited?
And as well, I suppose we're used to sushi as in fresh, and but it still sounds absolutely minging. So I don't know why we're all here trying to be apologists for this. I mean, listen to what young Eric had to say about it. Absolute horrible stuff.
True.
Well, we're little weak white boys, aren't we? These are descendants of these are these are descendants of very hardy Asian men.
Yeah.
So maybe they can just deal with those flavor profiles better than we can.
Maybe. We'll never know unless Eric knows.
Yeah, Eric might let us know.
Eric has the answer for us.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric.
Talking of hardy, strong Asian men, let's have a look at how we got over to Japan. And our first record to that isn't Eric, because as we know, he's never been, but it's actually
he's got no idea.
Yeah, he's got no idea, mate. No, it's actually some Chinese travellers from the 3rd century. So we're still a while ago, but they're over there. They've written up some nice little books, some little examples of the traditions going on there. Some lovely stuff like ritual teeth pulling, tattooing, and carrying babies on your back. So lots of nice stuff there, isn't there? But then
one of those is not like the others.
What, the tattooing?
Yeah.
I actually had a look at ritual teeth pulling. You guys know what ritual teeth pulling is?
I didn't care to look into it any more than just reading it and going, oh, not for me.
We're not torturing people with this.
No. So they do it for to mark special occasions. So 18th birthday, one son. Off you go.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. And to mark when crops were ready to be harvested and shit like that. They do all sorts, mate.
I can see why it's died out and hasn't caught on. Yeah. Because, I think it's better just to maybe just write it down. Oh, today was a good day. I turned 18. Still got a full gob of teeth.
Have a biscuit. Do you know what I mean? Like with that logic, throughout your life, you can only celebrate, how many times?
I think you've got
20.
40 something teeth, haven't you? 42, I want to say. 44, 48.
But also those 40 teeth become more precious the less you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's probably about life expectancy during this time, right?
Yeah, but I think your life expectancy goes down if you've got less teeth because you're going to struggle to eat.
True. But also, on the other hand, isn't baking a cake and eating a cake a form of ritual teeth pulling in the long run?
Sugar. Fucking hell.
Sugar.
Wow.
Wow, that's the westernized version.
Wow. This is it. It's never died. Never died.
That's what we do here on What the Food. We just reframe it all for you guys. Yeah. Just reframe your viewpoint on cultural framing. Teeth pulling.
And this is a metaphor.
Cake.
We're all the same. Yeah. We're all humans.
We're all one people.
We're all ending in the same way. We're just getting there a different way.
Yeah.
We all want rid of these teeth in our mouths.
Yeah. Teeth are the enemy.
However, as much as we're the same, and that's the kind of argument that we're pushing, eating cake is much more enjoyable than ripping out a tooth.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, we've softened it.
It's more fun.
Finessed it a little bit. But anyway, let's stop talking about pulling teeth and get back to the matter at hand. So in those records, alongside all of those other lovely things that they wrote down, they also got some of the things that old Eric loves about Japan now. Things like the old clapping during your prayers. I don't know whether they did it that dramatically. That might have been a bit much, but I've done it now. Eating from wooden trays and, crucially, eating raw fish. So, we know that this made the sort of preservation method made its way to Japan around the 8th century, and that's probably alongside the spread of Buddhism, because Buddhism discourages eating meat. So, next best thing,
does it?
Fish. You're still getting still getting your protein, but you're not having to kill a cow.
It's one of the reasons it's really popular then is because if they were Buddhist, they weren't eating meat.
Exactly. So you got to get it somewhere. So the first references to that are in the probably going to butcher this. I don't really know how to say O's with a line over it, but I'm going to go with Yoro or Yoro. But in the Yoroho code, a tribute item that was paid to the imperial courts was the luxury good of a nice preserved fish. You're basically going in there and saying, look, I've preserved this for you. You know, your fish that's ruining, not on my watch, king.
Yeah.
So
could have got you one right out the river, but I decided to get one, put it in a cave, wait for 6 years, and then bring it to you.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Tastes absolutely awful, but
Yeah.
could you eat fish that was 6-year-old without this? No.
No. And I forgot to mention that in our culture, it's really rude not to eat it straight away. Go.
Yeah. Smile while you're doing it. Don't be rude. So we're in the Muromachi period, and the Japanese, they started to eat the rice. They've started eating the rice with the fish, and that is creating the new one that's called namanare. And are you happy with that? Are you happy with my?
Yeah, I think it's perfect. So the Muromachi period is 1336 to 1573. So we're like Middle Ages.
Oh, okay.
You know, within this period, you know, we've got the Battle of Agincourt. We're rocking around in England with swords and helmets and
scrapping.
Joan of Arc.
Yeah, she's getting burned.
As well. And these lads are making
fish bites.
Partially fermented sushi. Yeah.
I'm sure there was kind of military things happening.
Oh, yeah,
They weren't all just skipping through fields of rice, eating
the whole society just focused just on this one food.
Affecting it. Yeah.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, it makes sense because they are spoiled for choice when it comes to fish, aren't they? Like Japan, you know, it's a small island country. They have got lots of interesting breeds of fish, species of fish.
Have they?
That make, I think
Name
so.
5.
Yep, go on.
Rainbow carp. Taragushi.
Brilliant. Rainbow carp and taragushi. That's it. You nailed that, mate. Don't need any more. You're clearly an expert on the subject.
Wow.
Salmon.
Yeah.
Did you know, though, talking about Japanese fish, so you know the popular, the motorbike brand, Suzuki, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
It's a type of fish. It's actually sea bass in Japanese. So, and everybody's saying, oh, I'm getting on my Suzuki, getting on my sea bass. Doesn't quite sound as cool, does it? Like, and I was riding 150 miles an hour on my sea bass. It was sick.
Wow.
You what, mate?
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They have it. I mean, I don't know if maybe it was like maybe that's how they work out second names like we do over here. Maybe like it was a sea bass fisherman and his second name was just Suzuki. So maybe, I don't know. I don't know.
What?
Well, like how like people have like Tanner as their second name because historically they were like a leather.
There was a guy in Japan called Grant Seabass walking around.
Yeah. He was like renowned for being like the man who comes out with a full net of sea bass every time. They're like, fucking hell, there goes Seabass Grant again. There he goes.
But this, just to finish on this namaneri, so it translates, or roughly translates, to partially fermented, and essentially the rice that they used to encase the fish had a much shorter fermentation time, kind of weeks instead of months, which made the rice more palatable. So that's why they began to eat the rice with the fish.
You're not having that bile taste for days after.
Because that's the thing with like fermentation. I guess I don't really fully understand the scientific kind of process, but what little I do know is you've got kind of a living organism in there that's then eating the sugars, which in this case is the starch in the rice. So that sweetness that you get, that natural sweetness that you get when you eat a nice mouthful of rice, is being eaten by that organism, and that's what kind of creates the sourness, isn't it?
Yeah.
The byproduct of that kind of eating process. So the longer that living organism is in there eating that sugar, the less sweet and the more sour that thing's going to become.
Exactly.
Spot on, Donnie.
All right.
Exactly. Yeah. But then they kind of figured it out a little bit, and they had a bit of a game changer coming in the Edo period, which is your 1600s until
we've been here a few times
1868.
On the pod,
yeah, we love that sort of area.
Golden age.
And instead of waiting for the fermentation, the chefs worked out a cheeky little cheat code, which was adding vinegar to the freshly cooked rice to get that sour taste instantly, and that created fast sushi or haya sushi.
Hiya
sushi.
Hiya. So everyone in Japan turned camp. Hiya sushi.
Right. So they're adding vinegar to kind of, not synthetically, because it's still a natural product, but just to
get
kind
there
of
quicker.
Get there quicker, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you do make sushi, you are supposed to season the rice, aren't you? You don't just use sushi rice. You've got to season it properly.
You have to season the rice. The rice is sushi.
Yeah.
Without the rice, it's not sushi.
No. Yeah, because that's the one constant, isn't it, throughout all the different types of sushi that you have, you know.
It's just sashimi, yeah. But the rice is the main ingredient.
Yeah. So get it right.
Get it right. And speaking of get it right, like, I think we maybe touch on it a little bit later, but like in sushi restaurants, it is one bloke's job to do the rice, to cook the rice to perfection. And usually they do that for minimum 2 years before they're allowed to do anything else in the sushi restaurant.
They break up all the processes of everything into its kind of minute forms, and then they perfect each section of a process. That's why the end product is like immaculate, isn't it?
Yep. Decades of work to achieve perfection, definitely.
But then, I don't know, I mean, you've got to really love what you do. I mean, to stand there every day and all you're doing is the rice, I mean, it takes some kind of mental fortitude to do that, doesn't it?
You got to love it. Like you said, you got to absolutely love what you're doing.
Yeah, if it was me, I'll be like, head chef, I prefer like project-based work. I prefer kind of like moving around different objectives and kind of circling back and trying things again and bringing new findings. Anyone else?
You would not last a day. No.
How long is my lunch break? It's not for me.
It's not for you. But one bloke who it was for, speaking of characters, every good story's got one. And Sushi Story has a cool one. So a bloke called Hanaya Yohe'e.
What was his name?
Hanaya Yohe'e.
Okay. Hanaya Yohe'e.
Yep. Is that okay?
Is that
okay? I'm sorry.
He's a bit of a lad, is Yohei. He wasn't some kind of high-end chef. He wasn't, what's his chops? Jiro Ono from Jiro Dreams of Sushi. He was a street vendor in Edo in the 1820s, and he was slinging sushi from his stall. Think of him as like a New York hot dog seller, but in 19th century Japan, and not peddling whatever is in those hot dogs.
Yeah. Don't underestimate, the what?
What?
Don't underestimate the street vendor though, because they're churning out a lot of portions, so they're constantly going, so they're good at what they do, and they are making food for the people. They're not making it for aristocrats. They're not making fancy fare. They're making food that regular people really enjoy eating. So don't underestimate the street food seller. That's all I'm going to say.
Put that on your gravestone when you pop your clogs.
Yeah.
Yohei is credited with inventing nigiri sushi.
What did you just call me?
24 at a shop in Rigoku.
Right. Nigiri is one of the big ones, isn't it? Like when you think of sushi, that's, I'd say, one of three of the main categories in my mind.
Yep. So nigiri is a small hand-pressed mound of vinegared rice with a slice of delicately cut fresh fish on top. This is my favourite. This is my favourite.
I do
sushi.
think this is quite a banger, to be fair.
Salmon, tuna, maybe a butterfly prawn on there.
What was that type of fish that you said before, Milo, that was from Japan?
Rainbow carp.
No.
Rainbow carp or
the other
pollock?
one. The other one.
Oh yeah, the other one. What was the other one?
I can't remember. Slipped from mine.
I think he says something like Tamagotchi. Tamagotchi was
I'm sure it's Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Don't put one of those on a mound of rice. Christ. Yeah, nigiri's really good, isn't it? I think. Nice.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost 2 bites. It's a 2-bite situation. I don't think are you still supposed to
Breaking
eat
the
that
rules
one?
there, mate. Yeah, get it down,
Yeah, it's one.
Milking it.
Down your neck, mate.
They do the little egg omelette thing as well on there. Does that still count as nigiri, or are we venturing too far into another type? Because that's sometimes got the little kind of egg piece on there as well.
I think the egg one is it in inari? Maybe inari sushi,
That rings a bell.
where it's like an omelette and it's stuffed.
Yeah.
Or is that? Yeah.
No. I'm thinking of like a nigiri where you've got the mound of rice and then you've got kind of like a square rectangular cut piece of omelette kind of resting on top of it.
Okay. Yeah. Then that'll be nigiri. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Get that.
Yeah. Stick anything on top. Put fucking
Tamagotchis on it.
Tamagotchi on it. Yeah. Exactly. Lump of lard or whatever on it. Still a nigiri. But yeah, Yohei invented the nigiri. 1824 at his little shop in Ryogoku. Don't know why I went down the route of saying it again. Convenient, and you could eat it with your hands. It's great. Probably my favourite sushi, like we've already said. I did manage to find a quote from the bloke himself, which emphasised how important the rice is within a sushi dish. He states that
the reason is not because of the toppings, but because nigiri sushi lets you taste the rice, and that's what it's all about.
Right.
It's like he was in the room with us.
Yeah.
Hanaya Yohe'e.
Hanaya Yohe'e.
See you later.
And off he goes, making more nigiri.
And off he goes. Yeah. And off he goes.
Interesting quote though. So, you know, the reason is not because of the toppings, you know, because they're the bits that kind of stick out. The bits that your eyes are drawn to is the kind of finely prepared. Yeah, exactly. And you've got the kind of little fish eggs sometimes on there and things, and it all looks brightly coloured, very appetizing. But he's saying that it's the rice. It's the rice.
The rice is the star of the show, and the thing on top of it complements the rice.
Yeah. Because it's all about temperature and everything, isn't it? It's not just like preparation. It's like the denseness of the rice, like how long it's cooked for. Is it al dente? It's the temperature it's served at. I mean, I think the hand molding of that piece of nigiri is something to do with temperature as well, isn't it?
Yep.
And that sort of thing. It's just every little bit that you think of is thought of.
Massively. But it's very much Yohei's invention of the nigiri that sets off this revolution within the world of sushi. And this is where we get the birth of sushi becoming what it is today. And exactly like you said, these techniques and this perfection of this craft starts at this point here. In next week's episode, we're going to dive into it. We're going to dive into how sushi goes from the streets and these food stalls to the high-end restaurants to Jiro and his dreams of sushi. We're going to dive into him himself, explore his life, which, spoiler, he's still alive.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, these fucking Japanese people don't die, man. I'm telling you, it's sushi.
Yeah.
It's just sushi and fresh air, whatever the fuck they've got going on.
We could actually go off and see if he sounds like what Miles thought he sounded like, or is that a different person?
No, sorry. Yohei was 1824, mate. So he's long dead.
Well, I didn't know.
I put my clocks ages ago.
No, we're getting to Jiro, Dreams of Sushi, that documentary that
He's still around.
Went viral, didn't it? That was kind of like the first documentary that I remember really going super viral. Followed closely by Blackfish. Connection there, maybe.
Yeah, there is a connection there with sushi and
humans just love fish.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, join us next week when we dive into part 2 of the history of sushi.
There we have it. Part 1 of A History of Sushi. Join us next week for part 2. And thank you for sticking with us to the end of the episode. Feel free to send an email if you want to get in touch at whatthefoodpodcast@gmail.com. Come and say hello. Come and suggest a dish or a moment in history that you'd like us to look into. You can follow us now on, well, I say that every time like it's new, don't I? Like, follow us now.
Yeah.
But, we've been posting stuff on social for a while.
To do it.
I know. But yes, we are on TikTok. We're on Instagram and we're on YouTube. We post clips of the show and other bits and bobs over there. So head over and follow us. Give us a rating on your favourite podcast platform, wherever you listen to the show. And feel free to share it with a friend. If you enjoy the show, the best thing you can do for us is to share it with a mate. So yeah, go on. Help us out, please.
You know you want to.
But yeah, stay safe. Sean's back out at the very end of this episode, isn't he?
Got a bit of sushi in his mouth.
Sean is eating a sushi on the seashore. We will see you guys for part 2 next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Oh.
Bye-bye.